and we're going to continue with some more John Wick love as our final matchup in this episode and the final matchup in the Cruise division. We have John Wick 3 Parabellum. So it's the Casablanca fight slash escape, where it's John Wick, Halle Berry's character, with her two dogs. They have to escape the compound, going up against King Kong, 2005's King Kong, where it's King Kong versus the three T Rexes. How would you score
I
this one?
actually want to hear yours first because I'm curious.
I went 6-4 John Wick 3.
Okay, I went 7-3 King Kong.
Okay, looks like King Kong is going to take it then. I I have concerns about the King Kong scene that I don't with John Wick 3. So,
So this again, same complaint I have about most of the John Wick scenes.
hmm,
It overstays its welcome. It's too long, and it again, it's a later John Wick sequel, so it's like gets a little bit too ridiculous at points.
sure.
Also, we talked about this with the Revenant, with like animals. Wherever there's an animal on screen, I'm rooting for the animal to win, obviously.
Sure.
But also, I don't want to see dogs being violent. It's just a personal thing about me. Like
It
even
I get it. I'm okay with it when it's just a dog fucking up a human. But yes,
yeah, like
I understand.
e-
It's tough.
yeah, even if it's a dog like going to town at a guy you know is bad, like I still don't want to see a dog being violent.
Sure.
So
I
that's
think
just a personal taste thing.
I think that's fair.
Um, and then again, the King Kong scene, I just gave more points to because there's not anything like it on this bracket.
Very fair. It's
Like,
it's big CGI creature versus big CGI creatures.
yeah, like there's a lot of scenes like the John Wick shootout.
Fair. I think that's very fair. So let's cover John Wick and then I'll go King Kong. So I love the as someone who does appreciate the style of John Wick, although I understand the fatigue with it. I don't have fatigue with John Wick until John Wick 4. And even still I love it. It's great, but that's the first time I ever went I don't know if we can do much more.
Hmm.
So this is why I'm interested in the ballerina because I want to see what they're going to do with it, but I'm also like you're also playing in a world where you've done four things that you had to continually keep upping the ante, and how much
Yeah.
more can you up the ante, right? So, what I love about John Wick 3 is you don't have any components in that fight that aren't fresh. Like, you've never had John actually be able to fight with an equal that have to have each other's back. That I really appreciate. Uh, I think all the stuff that they do with the dogs is really interesting and really fun. I understand the reservations, and even I get a little like, I don't always want to see dogs being violent. But I will say, if we're in a John Wick movie and the whole thing is the guy was wrong because they shot his dog, anytime a dog can just take out a human, I'm like, I'm for it. I'm
Oh
okay with
no,
it.
like yeah, when he shoots a dog, he deserves to die,
Oh, yeah,
100%.
1,000%.
Even if he
So,
doesn't kill the dog, he deserves it.
exactly. So, it is really interesting to see. I think Halle Berry gets to shine a little bit one, and that's why I think it doesn't feel so. To me, it doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome that much because they spend so much time with Halle Berry in that scene that it doesn't feel like, oh, well, John's going to take this guy out, and then John's going to take that guy out, and then John's going to
Hmm.
somehow survive something impossible to survive, and all this kind of stuff. They focus a lot on the other three components to the fight scene on the babyface side versus John. So that's to why I like that. I just love the variety in using how you can see that John Wick and Halle Berry's character were trained in a similar fashion, but there's these subtle differences in what they're doing
Hmm.
that they have this different attack style, which I also think is a really fun character element to it. Um, Yeah, and anytime you could see a dog leap through a Jeep and just fucking rip a guy's throat out, that's cool. That's metal. So, yeah, that's what I would say about the John Wick 3 fight. Um, I would have been curious had we picked the 3-on-1 fight from the end of that movie, had that would have done better for you. But it seems like you're kind of over John Wick in general.
Yeah. I think it's just because that style, I've seen so much of it. And really, John Wick kind of helped create it. So it's like kind of a downfall of its own
Making,
making.
yeah,
So, but yeah, it's just kind of fatigue at this point.
sure,
Just like Marvel fatigue or anything else. You see enough of it, you just go, I think I've seen enough of it.
fair. Quick positives from you on King Kong.
I mean, one, I love that he's trying to fight the T Rexes while also protecting the human, the girl.
Yep.
And also, I mean, three T Rexes versus one King Kong. I mean, it's pretty radical in terms of a concept.
Yes. I think it's very fun. I do think the protective elements in it are really cool and it's great character work. To try to gain sympathy for a giant gorilla is tough.
Like, I like when he's passing her between like his different, like his hands, his feet. Yeah, that stuff.
That I think it's interesting. First of all, I think she would have been dead within 5 seconds getting ragdolled like that, but
100%.
movie magic will let it slide. It's when they get tied up in all the vines, that's when I go, I think this is a little too far for me.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's definitely better when it's like on the land.
So
that part's 100% better.
So that's where that's why I was like, I'm gonna go with John Wick 3. There's something more tangible about this that doesn't feel jump the shark yet. Where when they're in the vines, I was like, this is a little much for King Kong.
Yeah.
But again, CGI is incredible. All four creatures look great. You really get King Kong's motivations out of this. Naomi Watts is doing a good job in reactions. I just wish there was actually more focus on her a little bit more. Like true close-ups, give her, instead of like a flash of a half of a second, give 5 to 10 seconds to build what she's feeling. And I think that scene would have done even more. But again, Peter Jackson does a good job mapping out each character, what they're doing in the sequence. So King Kong takes it 11-9. And that is our full round one for our cruise division.